And straight after that, we've got Poppy. If you haven't seen Poppy's channel, go and check him out too. He's good for a chat, he's fun, and he makes cool stuff. And straight after that, we've got Poppy. If you haven't seen Poppy's channel, go and check him out too. He's good for a chat, he's fun, and he makes cool stuff.
Hey gang, Poppy here in the computer room with an omnibus video recording. This one crosses a bunch of playlists here because I don't want to do a bunch of editing, putting headers and footers on a bunch of videos. I'm just gonna blur it all in one big one. And considering there's like only 2 people who actually watch my videos, but I'm going for gotta have the video link so that they can put commercials there. Okay, let's start off with a product review. I unboxed this a little while ago and I made a video where I was using it. And my actual use for it. What I bought it for. It is $12 volt. Well, actually, mine dials from 4 to 12 volt and adjustable amperage up to 10 amp. Yeah, I use it to drive a 24 volt DC motor which has a worm on its output shaft. This of course is turning the worm wheel, in which a shaft is coming out of there and the bayonet fitting from an old Kirby Butler's attachment, which has been highly surgified in the bandsaw. Have been grafted together, and it bayonets onto a tapered square rod coming out of the feed rod of my shear line lathe. It goes backwards, forwards, very slow, or should I say very, very slow to slow. In other words, the perfect power feed for a shear line lathe. Slow to very, very slow. I mean, I get down on 4 volts, and of course I keep the amperage. I have all the amperage it can, use, right? And it took about 3 minutes to cut insanely slow feed rate. Nice, fine surface if you have a sharp tool. I myself, I like high speed. I don't really like carbide for my machine because don't need it. Even the hardest stuff I machine on, I've machined 01 on it. High speed. The one time I really used carbide in it was after I mounted an 80mm chuck to it, adapted it to it. I put an old piece of round cast iron. It was a base from a Dixon third hand jig. White cast iron, not gray, white. They didn't put the iron, the ferro silica. They didn't put the ferrosilica in it, so it was white cast iron, even worse than gray. Yeah. Anyway, so it was coarse. It was all full of glassy chill spots. Anyway, I finally had a chuck, the pinion actuated 3-jaw. So I was able to grunk down, and it wasn't going to slip out of the chuck. And with the carbide, I was able to actually cut iron. No more. My machine is made out of aluminum and 12L14. No more iron on it. But I'd probably machine 01 on it again. There's 01 machine's nice and clean. Doesn't get dusty. Yeah. Anyway. Performs well and above what they intended it for. This is a very, very, very good purchase if you want a 12-volt power supply. 12 to 5 they say, but mine goes down to 4. And at 10 amps, you know, it rotates that 24-volt DC motor. I've got it running real good. I know if you're thinking of getting their little power tools that plug into one of these, it'll power them. If it can chooch a 24 volt, it came out of a easy chair lift, so grandma could get out the in and out the easy chair without the help of, you know, a grandkid or two. Anyway, that got took apart and turned into my reversible slow speed power feed attachment for my shear line lathe. Now, it really outdoes what it was designed for. Ow! I was going to be recording last night. This is Monday, by the way. 10 o'clock straight up. Wow! I couldn't have planned that way if I'd tried. I would have been recording last night around this time, except for Saturday night around this time. I was in an ambulance going to the hospital. I had the one last symptom of heart attack. You know, the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, I had it, so I called, and they took me there. They did all the usual testing. I'm laying there in emergency, just relaxing, looking at, I forget what I was watching, but it was something I liked and didn't upset me. You know, I'd feel a stabbing here and it's going down there and right here in the carotid. Then I'd look up at the monitor and the trace has got spike, 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 and no little humps between the spikes. I mean, I've been sent to bigger hospitals because of that waveform. They say, "I'll get him out of here. We don't want him to die here." Anyway, I believe it's pace related, because there are also that big peak had variable distances. So irregular beat and the yeah. I've been told by a cardiologist that I'm allergic to the medicine they need to give me so a pacemaker could coexist with me. Aren't allergies great? Anyway, that's why I didn't go out to the shop last night. Yeah, I was going to go out to the shop. Anyway, that's heart health. Okay, now on to next big project. The powered single point threading attachment for my shear line lathe. I've got everything but the pulley and a belt. I've got one pulley. I just got to cut the V groove in it. Shearline calls it the hand crank for threading attachment. Pulley. And I'm ordering the standard headstock pulley. I got to sleeve it down to 1/2 inch. And it goes on the hospital bed, entire bed lifting mechanism motor. It's an AC. I got everything I need. I just got to reconnect the wires and tape it all up nice and grungy looking so it fits in with the decor in Poppy's workshop. I mean, it was in this nice, heavy steel stamped box and heavy brown enamel. I mean, we're talking hospital grade enamel on this baby. It was a 70s vintage rent or buy hospital bed that went home with patients, right? So it would lift like 1,000 pounds of fat ass up and down. Oh no, this was the heavy bed. This was big fat people hospital go home bed. So I know it's going to have the torque, and it goes like 6 RPM. Plenty slow for single point threading on a lathe. I know. It was horrible when the slowest the lathe I was using would go was 30. You may have guessed I'm not a fan of high-speed single-point threading. I don't like things like breaking tooling, ruining expensive stock, even breaking the machine. Crashing is not in Poppy's desirable range anywhere. Anyway, this is definitely going to be great. It's got the torque. Already figured out the pulley. I was going to either make one or buy one. Didn't want to go to Napa Auto Parts. You know, what's the smallest pulley you got for a 1/2 inch shaft? Great. Show me a belt I can go from this big around here to that one. They're about this far. All I'm going to do now is, when I get the pulley, go to Napa, get a belt. Already got the pulleys. Hey! Then I figure I'm going to mount it on a board of some sort with a hinging mechanism here and the weight of the motor. Pull the belt taut. That's snug. Have enough grip to turn the spindle of the lathe. Some people would describe it as setting up your small lathe motor watchmaker style, because a lot of watchmakers have the motor for their watchmaker's lathe and all the accessories that will work to it. You know, they got columns with extra pulleys for the vertical head and anyway, their motor, I've seen some guys put it on a big heavy steel plate and just push it back. And it's just there, you know. Or they'll have rubber footies for sound isolation and make sure it absolutely do not walk a little. You know, and then some it's hinged. Then there's one, the motor's down on the floor and a belt going up, and then another one coming down, and there's a shaft and belts coming down for the accessories. But anyway, I'm going to be, for single point threading, I'm going to be setting up semi-watchmaker style. And since it's a shear line, well, it's not watchmaker. It's too big. Could make clock on it. Is there a clockmaker's lathe? I know there's all kinds of small lathes and mills and larger than watchmaker, the engineering lathes. Anyway, that's that. Ordering the pulley, gotta go get a belt, cut the V groove and the hand crank power for single point threading on the shear line threading attachment. Fire. If you've been looking at the news at California, you see all that red? That's people's houses burning down. Forests burning. And the smoke is so bad. I'd watch Star Trek and I'd say, oh, no one could live on a planet with an orange sky. Well, we can't. Not for very fucking long. It will kill us. And guess what? I just found out today that 400 parts per million of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is the official death spiral for our atmosphere. We go to an age where all the animals die, plants die, everything gets covered by dirt and turns into coal, oil. We are at 413. Humanity is circling the drain. We're toast. Anyone you want to deny that we did it to ourselves with our cars and our trucks, our coal-fired power plants, all the stuff that raised the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide too now when we're burning gasoline and diesel, they add to the greenhouse. They poison the air. They're killing us. We might be gone before we burn up all the fossil carbon. Then there'll be fossil carbon and these stupid, yeah, us. Anyway, don't want to be gloom and doom, but we're toast. Oh, good night from California.